Coregency. A coregency is the situation where a monarchical position such as prince, princess, king, queen, emperor, or empress, normally held by only a single person, is held by two or more. It is to be distinguished from diarchies or duumvirates, such as ancient Sparta and Rome. Co-principality is a distinct but related system employed in contemporary Andorra, where monarchical power is formally divided between two rulers. Historical examples. Coregencies were common in the Hellenistic period. According to one scholar, they can usually be explained as a means of avoiding crises of succession or internal conflict, and of strengthening dynastic identity and ideology. Other examples include the coregency of Frederick I of Austria and Louis the Bavarian over the Kingdom of Germany. Fewer uxorious kings in kingdoms such as Spain and Portugal can also be found: Ferdinand V and Isabella I of Castile, Philip I and Joanna of Castile, Peter Roman III and Maria I of Portugal, etc. In Navarre, the husbands of queens regnant were styled as co-rulers. Ancient Egypt. Egypt. In ancient Egypt, coregency was quite problematic, as the pharaoh was seen as the incarnation/representation of the god Horus. Therefore, according to the divine order Mat, only one king could exist at the same time. Yet, exceptions can be found, mainly in the Middle Kingdom, where the occasionally appointed his successor, often one of his sons, as co-regent or joint king to ensure a smooth succession. This system was used from at least as early as the Middle Kingdom, in order to ensure that the transfer of power took place with the minimum of disruption and instability. Coregencies are highly probable for Amenemhat I Senusrit, I Amenemhat Roman II Senusrit Roman II. Most probably the real king in power was the older one, father adopting the younger ruler's son, while the co-regent had to wait until after the death of the older one to really have access to full royal power. Yet, the years of reigns normally were counted from the beginning of the coregency on. Due to this and to the fragmentary character of known sources, the establishment of Egyptian chronology was quite complicated and remains disputed up to date. Yet, understanding the existence of co-regency reduced the chaos quite a lot. The institution of coregency is different from that of vice-regency, where an adult person in ancient Egypt, often the mother of the king, functions as legal guardian, ruling in the name of the underage king. Some of the female vice-regents of Egypt rose to a status of equal to the god kings, becoming co-rulers, as can be seen in the famous case of Hatshepsut. After the death of her husband Thutmose Roman II, Hatshepsut ruled in the name of Thutmose Roman III, her nephew and stepson. Then, latest in year 7 of Thutmose Roman III's reign, she took over royal regalia and was then titled King of Egypt under the throne name Prenomen Maker. For later periods of pharaonic Egyptian history, the existence of the institution of coregency has been put into question by Egyptologists, while the Ptolemaic and Roman period examples being the most securely identified. Ancient Israel. In the book The Mysterious Numbers of the Hebrew Kings, Edwin R. Thiel proposed co-regency as a possible explanation for discrepancies in the dates given in the Hebrew Bible for the reigns of the kings of Israel and Judah. At least one co-regency is explicitly documented in the Bible. The coronation of King Solomon occurred before the death of his father David. Britain. The monarchy of England experienced joint rule under the terms of the Act sanctioning the marriage of Mary I to Philip Roman II of Spain. Philip notionally reigned as King of England inclusive of Wales and Ireland by right of his wife from 1554 to 1558. Similarly, following the Glorious Revolution, Mary Roman II and her husband William Roman III held joint sovereignty over the kingdoms of England, Scotland, and Ireland from 1688 to 1694. China. The Gong Regency, meaning joint harmony of the Zhou dynasty in China, was ruled jointly by two dukes for a short period according to Han Dynasty historian Sima Qian, but it is more likely that the Count of Gong was the actual single ruler according to bronze tapestries. Lithuania. The Lithuanian Grand Dukes typically selected some monarchs from their families or loyal subjects to assist controlling the Grand Duchy. However, the Grand Dukes remained superior. Vytenis superior and Gediminas superior and an unknown Duke of Traca, presumably Gediminas's son. Algirdas superior and Kęstutis. Jogaila superior and Kęstutis. A slightly different system developed for a brief period after Vytautas became Grand Duke, where nominally Vytautas ruled together with Jogaila, who took the title of Auxiosias's Kunigaikštis Supreme Duke, but he has not once used the title to take any action, and in general the powers invested in the title were not clearly stated. The title was not used by any other king of Poland after Jogaila. Vytautas Grand Duke and Jogaila Supreme Duke. Świetlana Grand Duke and Jogaila Supreme Duke for a brief period, until Świetlana declared war on Poland. Sigismund I of Lithuania Grand Duke and Jogaila Supreme Duke until Jogaila's death. Russia. Following the death of Tsar Fyodor Roman III of Russia in 1682, his brother Ivan and half-brother Peter were both crowned autocrats of Russia. This compromise was necessary because Ivan was unfit to rule due to physical and mental disabilities, while Peter's exclusive rule was opposed by Fyodor and Ivan's older sister Sofia Alexeyevna, who led a Streltsy uprising against him and his mother's family. Because neither Tsar was of age to rule, Sofia subsequently claimed regency until she was removed from power by Peter in 1689. Ivan V and Peter I's joint reign continued, however, with Ivan maintaining formal seniority despite having little participation in the affairs of the state until his death in 1696, at which point Peter became the sole ruler. Sweden. The monarchy in Sweden has had several periods of joint rule: Erik and Ulrich, Ungvi and Alf, Bjorn at Hodge and Anund Uppsale, Erik the Victorious and Olaf Bjornsson, Erik the Victorious and Olaf Skotkonung, Halsten Stenkilsson and Ingi I and Philip and Ingi Roman II. Co-principality. The only co-principality in the world is Andorra, a small southwestern European country located on the Iberian Peninsula. As part of a peace agreement, joint rule between the Count of Foix and the Bishop of Urgell was established by a formal Act of Peerage in 1278. The Count's right eventually passed to the French state, and joint rule between France, now embodied by its president, and the Bishop of Urgell was codified in the Constitution of Andorra in 1993.